China has reported its second lowest annual economic growth rate in almost 50 years. The country's economy grew by only 3% in 2022. This is in comparison to a growth rate of more than 8% in 2021. The past year has seen China's economy come under pressure from pandemic controls and a slump in the real estate market. China had a target of around 5.5% growth in 2022. Its 3% growth is the second worst showing since 1976. For more on China's economy, Louise Watt spoke to Arup Raha, chief economist for Asia at Oxford Economics, who is based in Singapore.
China has reported 2022 growth of 3%, and in the final quarter, it was 2.9%. How bad are these figures?
They're not good, but they're better than expected. Essentially, consensus expectations were a little above 2%, so it's come in a bit better than what people had thought. I think the more important thing is you got to look inside the numbers. And what China faces right now, it's really lacking an engine of growth. If you look at the numbers, growth is essentially coming from public investment. The other drivers of growth are really not there. So you're not really seeing consumption was negative for another quarter. It's been negative for 2 quarters before that. Export growth hasn't been very strong. There was a burst early on. That's not their fault. That's the global economy. But the China model of invest and export is having a bit of a hard time. And it's really right now what you're getting from Chinese growth is essentially very much dependent on public investment. And hopefully that will have some multiplier effects into the economy, but we aren't seeing it yet.
China's pandemic restrictions have obviously weighed down heavily on its economic growth. In December, China eased these restrictions. So is that enough to kickstart the economy going again?
Well, it'll take a bit of time because if you read the latest headlines, it seems to be that COVID incidence is rising right now. That's not a surprise. That's happened almost everywhere, where after that you haven't seen growth pick up immediately, but you will. It takes a while. Hopefully you'll see the same in China. There's a fair amount of pent-up demand for various activities that didn't happen. Going out to eat, to dine out, to travel, etc. Yeah, so you're going to see that. But that doesn't last forever. After that, growth comes back to its fundamentals without the restrictions that are there. And you really need to then see what is the structural damage that the pandemic has caused. And in China's case, I suspect that it's quite significant. So we just have to wait and see how much actually incomes have been hit, how much institutions have been hit, how much it's going to cost them in terms of efficiency, etc.